Hello, or bonjour, should I say, as I've been speaking a lot of French since that Leinster La Rochelle game. A bit more on that later. This is just a quick preview and roundup of the Irish provinces in round four of the Champions Cup and the Challenge Cup. Firstly, I'm going to look at Bayonne versus Leinster in round four of the Champions Cup. Kickoff is at 3:15 p.m. Irish time at Stade Jean Daugé. Leo said he was really impressed by the stadium and the atmosphere when he went on a little recce there back in November last year. He went over with his family and he spoke really highly of the atmosphere at the ground. That match will be broadcast on beIN Sports, France TV or France TV, Premier Sports 2 in Ireland and the UK, Supersport and Flow Rugby. And the referee will be Luke Pearce from England. Just have a quick look back at that incredible game against Leinster and La Rochelle last week. It was really great to watch. It was really great as a spectacle. Even coming down into the media room, I felt like really hyped because it was a really exciting game, really enjoyable to watch. The atmosphere was really good from the fans. It was really loud, especially even like those turnovers that were really near to Leinster's line. Like the fans really celebrated, like was a try. Even the lads, the players themselves were celebrating those moments. Also, we have to talk about that drop goal from Harry Byrne. Just what he said afterwards, post match, he said there wasn't really much of a discussion about who was going to take that drop goal. He said, "I just said to Caelan, I want it. I wanted to take it. I'd taken the one before and hit it off the post, but I'd hit it well. So I felt like I wasn't going to miss this one." That's what Harry Byrne said after that. And also Caelan, he was asked, was there much discussion? What did he feel about Harry Byrne going for that kick? And he said Harry wanted it and I felt confident. He really had a lot of confidence and faith in Harry Byrne to get that match clenching penalty. Also, there was a bit of drama afterwards with Ronan O'Gara basically not appearing for the post-match press conference, sending his defence coach instead. Again, all the press conferences from the La Rochelle side were in French, which was okay for me as I speak French. But a lot of the other journalists that maybe didn't speak French or didn't have a high level of French missed out some of the La Rochelle quotes because of that. Also, Gregory Aldry came down really soon after the match, so there wasn't many people in the media room. It's just myself, a few other journalists from Ireland and the French journalists. But again, it was said that they had to catch a plane. Even the media guy had said in French that the bus was like leaving in like 4 or 5 minutes, but there was no kind of interaction in English from the Rochelle media or players or the coach that came out. Just looking at the stats from the La Rochelle game, it was 25-24 in the end. 4 tries to 3, 2 from Joshua or JJ Kenny, 1 from Josh Van Fleer and 1 from Robbie Henshaw. Just on JJ or Joshua Kenny, he's had 30 points in the RC and 10 in Champions Cup, so that's 40 points overall so far this season from 8 tries. He's also been mentioned in many other journalists' predictions for the Six Nations squad that's due out next week. Another big talking point from that game was Leinster's discipline, or maybe lack thereof. Leinster gave away 11 penalties to La Rochelle 7. They also gave away 2 more yellow cards. One from Tommy O'Brien with the deliberate knock-on, and then one for Joe McCurdy was this kind of accumulation of multiple offences from Leinster, and he just kind of bore the brunt of it. Another interesting statistic was Leinster missed 3 of their conversions. Given that the game was so tight, that was 6 points that went missing. Also, just a word on the player of the match, Lavani Bottia. He had 13 tackles and 87 metres carried, and he was an absolute nuisance at the breakdown and in defence. Some of the good things from Leinster fitness-wise, I noticed after Josh Van der Fleer's 66-minute try that a lot of the La Rochelle forwards, especially Will Skelton, looked out on their feet. Just looking at Will Skelton, he only had 196 minutes in the top 14 so far this season, 4 games, 2 starts. So definitely fitness was a big issue for him coming back for that game. just in comparison to Josh van der Fleer, who scored that try. He looked absolutely shattered after the try, but he still had the gas to make it. He's played 7 games so far this season and he has 495 minutes. And then looking at Bottia again, he's 36 years of age. He's played 14 games, 7 starts, and 681 minutes under his belt. And you could tell that match fitness. He didn't stop while he was on the pitch. He was absolutely everywhere. Another good positive thing from the Leinster performance was the younger lads, Jerry Kerr. I think he came on. He made some good tackles. He dealt with the scrum well enough. There was a few free kicks and penalties, but overall, I think he did really well. And another player, Andrew Osborne, he did make the odd error, but he made 2 really great try-saving tackles when he came on to play fullback after Kieran Frawley was forced off with that foot injury. Also, I think just the overall positive thing is Leinster grinding out a win like that in a tight game. I think back, how many times have we seen Leinster, even Ireland, let games like that slip away? So it's really positive to see Leinster grind it out, not lose their heads, keep calm, and to win it with another kick a goal, I suppose. It's kind of becoming a theme for these encounters with La Rochelle. Also, as Jerry Thornley mentioned in the post-match press conference, he said there was echoes of that 2023 final winning this game. Leo was up for media today. He had a few injury updates. Paddy McCarthy is a pretty serious injury on his behalf, and he's going to be out for a while. He's going to need to get a procedure done. Leo said that they will probably have a better idea next week what kind of time frame for his return. And then he mentioned Andrew Porter. He said it was a muscle injury, so it's kind of like a week by week thing. So they're going to monitor that and see, maybe he could be back for next week or even back looking towards the Six Nations. Speaking of the Six Nations, he was also asked about Harry Byrne's potential prospects for the Six Nations. Obviously, Leo stressed that he was only focused on him from a Leinster perspective, but he could be someone that could force his way into the side, especially with that injury to Kieran Frawley, who kind of plays that utility back role that could provide the opportunity for Harry Byrne to get into the squad. On Kieran Frawley, there wasn't any more information on his injury, but given the injury update on Monday, it didn't seem like with Paddy McCarthy's injury that it seemed that serious. Like they said, they were monitoring him and seeing whether he will be available. So it looks that might be maybe a few weeks kind of thing, not a longer term issue. Leo was also asked about that discipline issue, and he said we need to be a lot more clinical in attack and defence, but he did highlight some areas that he felt that Leinster were getting a bit hard done by. He suggested that Will Skelton seemed to have an invisibility cloak, that people don't seem to see what he does. And that was after Dan Sheehan fell foul from their coming together, shall we say. But he stressed that a lot of the issues were within their control, and he said that he didn't want to be passing on the blame to anyone else. Just looking at that pool 3 that Leinster's in, Leinster and Harlequins are both qualified. Leinster sit on top of the group with 14 points, 3 wins from 3. They were helped a lot by Harlequins' 61-10 win over the Stormers last weekend. Leinster will be out for those 5 points up for grabs this weekend to ensure the home seeding and home advantage in the later rounds. As for Bayonne, they sit in 6th and bottom of the table on 0 points. They have 3 losses from 3 in their Champion Cups games so far. They're 9th in the top 14. They have 8 wins from 14. They've 34 points and 44 tries in the top 14. They have an average of 3.14 tries per match in the top 14. However, looking at their record so far in the top 14 and Champions Cup, they have a pretty decent record at home. They've had 9 home games. They've won 8 of those. So they have a win rate at home of 89%. And then across the top 14 and the Champions Cup, they've scored 51 tries. So tries per game within the Champions Cup and the top 14, they've average of 3 per game. Last time out was a 57-14 loss to Leicester at Welford Road last weekend. Then looking at Leinster's record in the URC, they've won 6 games from 9. They've played 4 away and 5 at home. They've 2 away wins from 4, so they've a 50% away win rate in the URC. In the Champions Cup and the URC combined, they've won 9 from 12 of their games. They have a win rate of 75%. They've played 5 away games, 7 home games, and they've 3 away wins from 5 in total of their Champions Cup and URC games. So they've away win rate of 60%. Leinster currently sit 5th in the URC with 30 points. As I said, 6 wins from 9, and they have a 66% win rate in the URC. Overall, they've scored 36 tries in the URC and 13 in the Champions Cup, so they've 49 tries so far this season. And across the Champions Cup and the URC, they have an average of 4.1 tries scored per game. As I said, Leinster have already qualified. They just need a losing bonus point to finish within top 2 of their pool. The top 2 teams in each pool get those crucial home games. So Leo just said on that seeding situation, some of it is out of their hands. Leo said, we just need to make sure we control what we can on any given day. So not trying to play ourselves into trouble either. We've just got to approach the game and try and do what we can. Try and win the game first and foremost, and then you can kick on and score some tries. And then the Leinster team to face Bayonne is Jimmy O'Brien, Tommy O'Brien, Gary Ringrose, who's back, Robbie Henshaw, Joshua Kenny, Harry Byrne, Jemison Gibson Park, and then the forwards Jack Boyle, Ronan Kelleher, Tyke Furlong, RG Snyman, James Ryan, who's also set to make his 50th appearance in the Champions Cup, Max Deegan, Josh van der Fleer, and Caelan Darcy captains the side. And then the replacements, Dan Sheehan, Jerry Kerr, Thomas Clarkson, Joe McCarthy, Scott Penny, Luke McGrath, Sam Prendergast, and Rico Ioni. And then for Bayonne, Sheikh Thiberjean, Johan Arabe, Joris Segon, Herschel Yantes, Ignacio Calles, Lucas Martin, Luc Tagy, Ewan Johnson, Lucas Paulos, Alexandra Fisher, Arthur Itura, Nika Lomedze, and the replacements Facundo Bosch, Emose Tumania, Emeric Setiano, Alvaro Garcia Yandolino, Baptiste Agui, Manix Areceta, Guillaume Martoc, and Victor Anun. So just a quick look at the other provinces in action in the Champions Cup and Challenge Cup. So over to Pool 2 in the Champions Cup, Munster face Castres at Thomond Park on Saturday the 17th of January at 5:30 Irish time. That's live on Premier Sports. There's also radio commentary on Saturday Sport on RTE1. So after that really close loss, that 27-25 loss to Toulon last Sunday, Munster sit in 4th place in Pool 2 with 1 win from 3 and 6 points. Castres sit in 6th place and last place in that pool with 1 win from 3 and 6 points. Munster need a win to stay in the competition. However, they could still go out even with a win if they fail to get a bonus point win, and if Edinburgh get 1 point from their clash with Bath tonight. Also, they can go out if Toulon pick up a losing bonus point in their game against Gloucester, and they both pick up try bonus points. However, if Toulon win against Gloucester, just the win will suffice to keep Munster in. All the permutations, I love maths, I'm quite good at maths. The permutations within the pool have just fried my brain. I will link below. Neil Tracy's has a really great explainer on the RTE website, so I'll link that below, and that really explains everything, all the different pool permutations. So the Munster team to face Castres is Shane Daly, Tacker Abrams, Tom Farrell, Alex Nankivell, Ben O'Connor, Jack Crowley, Craig Casey, and then the forwards Jeremy Lockman, Niall Scannell, Michael Alalatoa, Jean Klein, Finian Reacherly, Tyke Byrne, who captains the side, Jack O'Donoghue, and Gavin Coombs. And then the replacements are Lee Barron, Michael Milner, Ollie Yeager, Edwin Adogbo, Brian Gleeson, Ethan Coughlin, JJ Hanran, and Dan Kelly. And then just some injury updates from Munster. Alex Cundellin, he's out with an ankle injury, but he will return to play in 3 to 5 weeks. John Hodnett, he's out with a thumb injury. He will return to play in the coming weeks. Sean O'Brien, shoulder injury. He'll return to play in 3 to 5 weeks. Tom Ahern, neck injury. He'll return to play in the coming weeks. Paddy Patterson is out with a head injury. He'll return to play in the coming weeks. And same with Calvin Nash, head shoulder injury, and he will return to play in the coming weeks. Then over to the Challenge Cup, looking at Ulster, they face Stade Francais at home at the Affidea Stadium on Saturday, 17th of January, 1 p.m. Irish time, and they'll be live on Premier Sports 2. Like Leinster, Ulster have already qualified for the round of 16 after picking up those 5 points from their cancelled game against Chilas last week, and due to those weather issues and the pitch not being playable. They sit in second place with 12 points. They've one loss to Cardiff, one win against Racing, and then they had that cancelled game against Chilas last weekend. Stade Francais are in first place with those 15 points in Pool 3 of the Challenge Cup. They've had 3 wins from 3. They had a home 38-17 win to Cardiff. They had a away 22-45 win to Cheetahs. And then they had a home 27-25 win to Exeter. Just looking at Stade Francais, they're currently third in the top 14. Just a quick word on Nathan Doak. Was speaking to the media there during the week. This should have been his 100 appearance, particularly at home at the Affidea Stadium, but that 100 milestone might have to wait until their URC fixture away to Scarlets next weekend. So the Ulster team to face Stade Francais is Jacob Stockdale, Robert Balakoon, James Hume, Stuart McCloskey, Zach Ward, Jack Murphy, Nathan Doak, and then the forwards, Angus Bell, Tom Stewart, Tom O'Toole, Ian Henderson, who captains the side, Harry Sheridan, Dave McCann, Nick Timoney, and Bryn Ward. And then the replacements for Ulster, Rob Herring, Eric O'Sullivan, Scott Wilson, Matt Dalton, Sean Raffel, Conor McKee, Jake Flannery, and Jude Postlethwaite. And finally, we go to Connacht in Pool 1 of the Challenge Cup. Connacht face US Montauban, or if you would say in French, US Montauban, at home at the Dexcon Stadium in Galway on Saturday, the 17th of January at 8 p.m. Irish time. That's live on Premier Sports 1. Connacht currently sit in 4th place in Pool 1 with 8 points. They've had 1 win from 3. They had a 24-21 away loss to Ospreys. They had a 52-0 home win against Black Lion. And they had a close away loss to Montpellier. It was 33-31 last weekend. But they're currently on a run of 4 losses at the moment. As for US Montauban, they sit in 6th place and last place with just 2 points. This is after being promoted last season. This season marks their first outing in the Champions Cup, or Heineken Cup as it was then, in 15 years. They've had no wins from their 3 matches. So they had a 17-41 away loss to Zebra. Then they had a 22-33 home loss to Ospreys. And then they had a 28-31 home loss to Black Lion. Then in the top 14, they're currently 14th in the top 14, so bottom of the pack, with just 1 win, 1 draw from their 14 games so far. So the Connacht team to face US Montauban is Sam Gilbert, Shane Jennings, Harry West, Cottle Ford, Finn Tracy, Jack Carty, Matthew Devine. And then the forwards, Billy Bohan, Dave Heffernan, Sam Illo, Dara Murray, Josh Murphy, Keane Prendergast, who captains the side, Paul Boyle, and Sean Jansen. And then the replacements for Connacht are Dylan Tierney Martin, Dennis Buckley, Jack Ainger, Joe Joyce, Sean O'Brien, Ben Murphy, Sean Naughton, and Sean Walsh. So another great weekend of European rugby lies ahead for the provinces this weekend. What games in particular are you looking forward to? Do you think Munster will make it through to the round of 16? Please leave your predictions in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the games over the weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.